Hey everybody, it's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I've got a really fantastic video for you. This, I hope, is going to change the way you look at paper crafting. Guys, I created a system many years ago, and perhaps you've seen the video. It was time for a little update. I did it back in 2012, but it is a system I like to call flashcards. It's a simple method of how to take one sheet of color cardstock and one sheet of neutral cardstock. We're going to cut it into 8 equal pieces, giving us 8 pieces ready to create some amazing cards. Now here on YouTube, I have got a plethora of videos created with the flashcard system. But maybe you're also noticing there are flashcard 2.0. Yes, I'm going to teach you that cutting method as well. Guys, what's the beauty of a system like this is what you do is you create these pieces, you have them all ready to go at all times. And when you need a card and a flash, you grab those 2 little pieces of paper and a card base and boom, you're ready to create a card. As I said, I've been creating with the flashcard system for many years. So you're not going to run out of ideas on what you can create with just those 2 little pieces of cardstock and a card base. Are you ready to learn how to cut your cardstock so that you're ready to go with flashcards? All right, let's head over to the stamping table and get started. I want to begin with the original flashcard. I'll show you how to do the cutting here in a minute, but what we're going to be creating are 2 pieces that will layer together like so. But we're going to use those 2 pieces to create a lot of very different kinds of cards. And the concept behind it is we're not going to use anything else but those 2 little pieces of cardstock and a card base. Now, one of the things I love most about flashcards is how we're going to use the layering piece. I can come in with my die cuts and I can die cut from behind my cardstock before I layer on top. I can come in with punches and I can punch maybe a sentiment or something, again, before I layer. So many different dies, but you notice on this one, I said, thanks, here's friend. I could just run that through my die cutting machine and have that to add to a card. But as you can see, all the cards are very different, but all we needed were those 2 pieces of cardstock. Are you ready to learn how? Let me show you the cutting for the original flashcard. Remember, the concept behind flashcards is that everything is always ready to go. So I'm going to start with a sheet of colored cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and then either Whisper White or Very Vanilla, also 8.5 by 11. I'm going to start with the cutting on the colored cardstock. And what I want to do, I'm going to cut this in half at 4.25 by 11. Let's now cut those in half at 5.5. I'll repeat that with this one. 4 pieces that are 4.25 by 5.5. We can now take this with the 5.5 inch side at the top and we'll cut that in half to 2.75. I'll repeat that with the remaining pieces. And now you see I have 8 equal pieces, 2.75 by 4.25. Now we're going to cut our Whisper White so that we can create the layers. Now the layers obviously need to be a little smaller, so we're going to cut our cardstock in half at 4 inches, and I'll cut the remaining piece at 4 inches. That's going to leave us a scrap. So I have 2 pieces that are 4 by 11. Now I'll cut each one of these down to 2.5 inches. This is now going to give me 8 layering pieces that will work on our other cardstock. There's 4 pieces. Let's repeat that with our remaining piece, 2.5 inches by 4 inches. Again, we'll have a little scrap left over on those. And there you can see I have 8 pieces now to layer on top of my colored cardstock. All right, there you go. That is how to create the original flashcard. So what I've done is I've now got 8 pieces of my pool party, and I have 8 pieces of Very Vanilla and 8 pieces of Whisper White. They're going to layer together. I'm always ready whenever I need a card because I can just grab a neutral and a colored piece of cardstock and I'm ready to create. Of course, I'm now going to go through and pull out a lot of different colors that I have in my collection and create some more of my colored pieces. Now, I've got another cutting method for you, and this is what I like to call flashcards 2.0. We're going to change up the cutting just a little bit, and it's going to create a totally different look. And yes, there are lots of videos waiting for you in the flashcard 2.0 series. So these have a more long rectangle. They are going to be 5.5 inches long. But you see, once again, we've been able to create some very different cards using only those two little pieces of flashcard 2.0. Are you ready to learn how to create those? All right, let me show you how. So for flashcard 2.0, same thing. We're going to use 8.5 by 11 cardstock. We're going to start with a colored piece of cardstock and a neutral, either Whisper White or Very Vanilla. We'll start with the colored cardstock, and just like we did before, we'll cut it in half at 4 1/4. We'll cut our halves in half to 5.5, giving us our 4 equal pieces, 4 1/4 by 5.5. We'll now cut each of these in half to 2 1/8 inch, and now you see we have a totally different shape. But yes, we'll still have 8 equal pieces, and all of those were cut by the one piece of 8.5 by 11. Now the layering pieces on this are a little bit different as well. This time we'll begin with the 11-inch side up at the top, and we will cut this down to 5 3/8 of an inch. And we'll repeat that on both pieces. So just a hair of scrap left over. Now, 2 equal pieces, 5 3/8 by 8.5. Are you ready? Now we're going to cut these. Again, we're going to put that 8.5 inch side up at the top, and we'll cut these down to 2 inches. We'll do that with the remaining piece. Cut all of these at 2 inches by 5 3/8. There we go. So there are those pieces. You see how they layer, but I want you to notice it is a tighter fit. You notice there's just a small amount of border on the flashcard 2.0 versus the original flashcard. There you go, my friends. We have flashcards and we have flashcards 2.0. You are ready to go and create. Guys, having these already made and ready is going to really transform how you stamp because it makes things go so quickly. And hey, what's not to love about getting the most out of our cardstock is I either do some die cutting, some punching, something from behind this piece before I layer on top of it, because that's not going to show. So why not use that? It allows us to save money. We like that. It saves cardstock and it makes our card just a little bit lighter, which is also a money saver when it comes to mailing cards. Are you ready to get started creating your own flashcards? Well, if you need a little reminder of the measurements that I used today, here's what you can do. Head over to simplysimplestamping.com. Look for the June 6th 2019 blog post. I'll have all the details there for you. So if you need to jot down those measurements, they'll be right there waiting for you. And if you need any of the cardstock so that you can start to create your own flashcards, you can order right there at simplysimplestamping.com as well. Now, if the idea of flashcards excites you, but all that cutting does not, well, you can also find flashcards to go. This is where everything is already cut. It's scored. Your card bases are all scored and ready. You're going to get the envelopes to match your cards. Everything to create 40 cards in a flash. This is a great way to get started in flashcards, and you can order those right there at simplysimplestamping.com. Just look in the blue menu bar for flashcards to go. I sure appreciate you stopping by today, and I hope you enjoyed what you learned with the flashcards. Hey, if you did, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up on YouTube. I always appreciate that. And hey, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, take a minute to do that. Guys, there are so many flashcard and flashcard 2.0 videos waiting for you here on YouTube. Just look for the playlist, watch them all, binge watch. Why not? Yeah, enjoy yourself and learn some new fun ways to paper craft and create your cards in a flash. Thank you all so much for being here and allowing me this little reboot of the flashcard. I hope you have a fantastic day, my friends, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.